Although we can't completely rid our lives of stress and anxiety, we can start to take actions to create softer, easier everyday lives. Happy Monday.
Welcome to Carly's Couch. We're glad to see you here. Well, not see you, but have you listen to us once again.
Or to see us if you're watching the YouTube. What's up, y'all? If you notice, we're standing this time. Trying out something new on the couch. I guess it's a standing couch now, so here we are.
Yep. It's summertime and everybody seems to be like focused a little bit more on vacations and hanging out. And, you know, I think that comes with like you want to enjoy yourself a little bit. I feel like growing up, you know, with school being out in the summer and all of those things, just feels like that's the time to chill and relax. And so Carly had a conversation that sparked today's episode, which I think is timely because of like the mood that I feel like a lot of us may be in because of that.
Yeah, for sure. So last week, I actually got to catch up with one of my really good friends in Dallas. Shout out to her. And in the conversation, she was mentioning how she had experienced burnout. Like her therapist was like, oh, yeah, bro, you're burnt out. And this was like in the end of 2021. And so just, you know, COVID and life stuff and everything that's been happening for the past few years is a lot, like unprecedented times every day. And so it starts to weigh on you. And she mentioned a couple of tips that her therapist had told her, like ways to like start to live a softer, easier life. And then there's like been this trend on, you know, TikTok and other social media platforms around, you know, I don't want a hard life or a hustle life. I want a soft life. And so I think it's super important to talk about, you know, ways that we can actually live softer, easier lives. So
Why is that? Why is that, I guess?
Why is it important to live a softer, easier life?
No, why do you think it's important to talk about living a soft life?
Oh, because I think that the times that we live in, stress is super high every day about everything. And whenever you have elevated levels of cortisol, which is the stress hormone in your body's not able to rest and digest and heal and do all of those things, which can lead to long-term illnesses, can lead to brain shrinkage, can lead to you not living your best life or your full potential. And if we have a whole world where everybody's so focused on, you know, hustle, no sleep culture, all these things, it's like, are we really being our best selves? And so I think there's a much needed shift in the mindset. It's like not let me work harder, let me work smarter, let me start to figure out what life, you know, looks like without trying to fit into this hustle culture.
And so it sounds like you're saying like to live a soft life just means it's not centered around work. It's kind of what I'm getting the most out of, which is what kind of leads to the most stress sometimes and other issues that we're having. Is that fair?
I think that that's a good assessment. It's like not necessarily focused on work, but also just less stress, maybe more simple, where you have intentional happiness and like you're working on resting. Like those things are valued as much as the other pieces that we don't typically think about. When I say soft life, like when we're talking about, what does it mean to you? Or is it just the shift away from work?
To me, the idea of soft life, sounds like less effort into everything that you're doing. So you don't have to put in so much effort for money in your life. You don't have to put in the effort to get anything necessarily done. I don't know, there's less complications and you don't have to worry about the hows and you get to kind of enjoy like the what is.
I like that. Enjoying the what is. That might be the episode title. I think that is super important. Because our society, we talk about it all the time that we're not fans of like team no sleep and grind till I die, like none of those things. But with there being such a big shift in social media, like what do you think has led to this shift towards maybe trying to live easier lives?
I think these things just come in waves and shifts. So while hustling and like working hard, that was during like a certain era where we were really pushing that mindset, and we were like kind of talking about that. Like Nipsey Hussle talks about that. I think that also in saying that there is a time that you do need to work hard. I get upset sometimes. People will tell me to work smarter. When I was like, no, actually, like I know, like I can work a lot harder. I'm just like literally not putting that much time into things that I should to get to a space where I can work smarter as well and be able to sit back a little bit more, right? Like you do have to get over the hump a lot of times. So I would say that that plus, I don't know, thinking about how now we're starting to see people getting, I think, a little more shamed for being like air quote capitalists and like kind of being in that hustle till you die type culture and people who talk like that. And I think we're just now starting to see more people who are saying like, actually, like when people are like, what's your dream job? It's like, I don't have a dream job. I don't want to be working. You know, like now that we start to see more people talk like that, it does kind of click for you like, oh yeah, I guess like that does make sense. Like we're so brainwashed kind of, or maybe not even brainwashed as much as like out of necessity or, you know, life, like that's where we've been. But now we are coming out of kind of that wave into another wave of like, oh, what would it be like just be able to enjoy life a little bit more, to ask for more or to not have to do as much, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it just comes in waves. And the same reason why we might have had a particular culture is the same reason why now, because of social and seeing other things that you know, that's changing.
Yeah, I think definitely seeing people, you know, living easier lives and still being very abundant, you know, still working hard. That's not to say it's like a soft life isn't like you ever not working hard or any of that stuff, but even just seeing what's possible outside of like this, you know, rat race that we've kind of just been ingrained in, especially if you don't come from a lot, like it's hard to even know that exists. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm about to say, well, we both taking that breath of like, boy. I was going to ask you, Carly, so for you right now in your life, what does a soft life look like? Because as you were just talking, I started thinking like, oh yeah, I can easily identify some of the things that I would consider now a soft life for me. What would you consider right now?
I would consider that I get enough sleep every night. I remember when that was like not a thing. And now.
So the basics.
Yeah. But basically, right? So
that might be what's soft for us at this point though.
Yeah. So that, it also looks like being kinder to myself just in my thoughts. Like I noticed like me catching like those negative narratives or that me talking crazy to myself essentially. And I'm like, you know, pausing that. I am not forcing myself to do crazy workouts and stuff all the time. Like I'm learning to listen to my body more. So whereas normally I'm like, no, push through, you know, 5 days of this. Now it's like, nah, my body just wants me to walk today. Okay. Your girl's gonna walk. And I'm like okay with actually like tuning in, but you have to take your time and slow down to even really know what your body or what you need. And so I think that's probably a lot of it is just like slowing down and being more open to, you know, myself. I have a, you know, facial care routine that I really enjoy and don't rush through. I take my time whenever I put on my whole butter. You know, I'm much more intentional about how I interact with myself.
Okay. I think that's probably what I would say is one of the first levels of living a soft life is being soft with yourself, which is what it seems like most of the things you said reflect on how you're treating yourself or being more intentional with yourself. I would say for me, I feel like the things that came to my mind first were at a different level because the things that came to my mind first about why I would say my life is soft or the things that I would consider soft in my life now is that I get every meal made for me or delivered and that I have a personal assistant now who she called registration and finally got my stuff together for me and is getting my phone switched over back to T-Mobile and what else? She made my nail appointments and my massage appointments for me. The fact that I have a monthly massage, the fact that I have a package for sensory deprivation now, the fact that I have so many of those things built into my schedule and things that other people are getting done, the fact that I have clients that I have no idea what's going on, but they're having a great time and the team is too. The fact that I can take a week off and go on a vacation, the fact that I can see some shoes or some kind of clothes and now I'll be like, okay, I'm going to get that. Like that might have my list of things that I want and that every once in a while I can just go in there and just choose something and get something. The fact that I can do my sports every other day. So to me, those feel like a soft life to me that I never would have really imagined before or thought that I would really be doing. And even thinking about it now, it's like, man, like, you know, as things kind of change in your life, like you don't necessarily feel any different, but to technically be like, oh, this is such a different life than I had, and that it's almost like I didn't really realize I was at a place where I would have really thought this was like super successful, but like being in it, I mean, it's great, but also you're really just in it, and it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. But it's like, man, like where can it go next? And so for me, it's really felt a lot softer. It's felt like things make a lot more sense, or that I get to spend more time doing the things that I want to do in that way, and doing like other cool random things. And now so I'm thinking about how can I make it even more so, or like what would be next for me in that space.
No, that's awesome. So mine, where it's like more softer to self, it's like what's a way to put that?
For me, it's like more about the material, like, and about my time, and about means, and about the options that I have. That's for me. Soft life is having the option to like do what you want to do. So to me, but I think that a soft life before is going to be considered like having that extra time to like spend on yourself, and all of those things are important for a lot of other reasons. But like soft life is like, somebody's doing that for you, or you know what I mean? Like I think there's different spaces of like you're not even having to do things as much as you did before, and that you're feeling maybe more well kept or taken care of, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny that you said well kept, because I always laugh. There's that snippet of that woman. There's this guy on TikTok who like goes around and asks people, "What do you do for a living?" Like with their cars, and he asked her like, "What do you do for a living?" She's like, "Oh no, baby, I'm married. Like I don't do anything." She's like, "I'm a kept woman. Like I don't have to do any of those things."
Right, and I think that is a soft life. So like living a soft life, made for whatever your reasons may be, but like you're taken care of, and you get to do what you want to do. You have that option. I think that's really what, as your life is softer, that's kind of what that feels like.
What'd you do, or if you can think of anything that helped you allow like yourself to even be in that space? Because you said it hasn't always been soft. Like what are some changes?
Make more money. That's literally it. Like, so I think that's why I said earlier too, like it's very important to work hard, because I had to do a lot of things, and like had a really period of really having to decide. And I think this comes up every once in a while for probably a lot of people, but like, where you kind of hit that space where it's like, all right, am I going to actually like turn up on, you know what I mean? Like leveling up a little bit of things, or, am I cool with where I'm at, or with the way things are going? And especially if you're a business owner also, or if you're a selfpreneur in any kind of way, you get to a point where you find like you're at a ceiling, or you have to do particular things to be able to expand or to scale, etc. And that really I had to just do a lot of work. So, I did like have to go hard, and I still do have to go hard, but like going really hard, and things being in order for now, when I have an opportunity for like a big client, then we were ready for it. Or even the things that happen within like having that client or other clients, etc., like continuing to put a lot of work into like the processes and what we're doing, blah, 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 to keep making that smoother and smoother and smoother. Like that's still very necessary. But it's also only because of that, only because of having smoother processes, having put that work in, and now having more income, that now I think like, oh, when I want to do something, like, oh, I actually can. Because you also have to kind of get out of that too. Like even when I was talking to the young lady about being my personal assistant, I kept being like so apologetic. I was like, this is mad weird. Like, growing up, how we grow up, like you don't ask people to do like your stuff for you. And I'm sitting here like, how do you feel about taking this to the dry cleaner? Like I was kind of nervous, being like, this is actually my list of things I need help with, because I'm not getting to it. And she's like, yeah, that's cool. I got it. I was like, all right. And next thing you know, I'm like, I can just text her like, hey, can you schedule my tennis court for Tuesday? She's like, yeah, I got it. Or I'll just be like, all right, I need my lashes done. Maybe this day or that day, you got my calendar. She's like, okay, is this time work? Cool. Like, and things just get done. And it's like, oh, this is actually very nice. And why not be able to work hard or get the work done that needs to get done in order to live a softer life, or in order to be in a place where you can actually enjoy yourself as well. So I think that literally all I can say would be money.
Yeah. And I agree. Money is a big piece. And that's why it's not just like skirting off hard work in order to do it. I think another piece is learning how to receive and allowing people to do stuff for you.
Yeah, that's super hard actually too. But I've even gotten better with that. Like even in the last couple of years with dating and different things, like I really was trying to be intentional about like letting people do stuff for me, or when I find myself about to do something, being like, nope, or, you know, like just actually ask more, things like that. I think you have to practice those things, which I would recommend for you to do.
Yeah, and start now and start today. You don't have to wait until you make more money in order to start living a soft life. I think that that's a big misunderstanding. It's like there's a lot of thoughts that, you know, probably cross people's minds. Like, I don't deserve it. I haven't made it. Like, what do I look like having a personal assistant whenever, you know, I'm not a CEO or any of those things. And it's really about shifting a mindset. So then you can allow for those things that like take place in your life.
And also with what you were just saying too, you have to learn to actually accept when people are doing stuff for you. So like I'd always be that type where they'd be like, oh, how much are your nails gonna cost? I'm like, no, you know, don't worry about it. I got this, I'm straight. And I'd be like $95. You know what I mean? Like and see what happens. Or it's so funny, we can't tell a story. Shout out Kyle, my bestie across the street. So I was in the car with him, we were riding out to go meet up with the friends one day. And I was telling him, I was like, I keep getting these DMs from this guy who's like, let me send you something. Let me send you something. And it's just like, I just haven't been saying anything. He was like, what? Man, y'all need to be using what y'all got. You should be racking up right now. He's like, do you need some inspiration? He put some City Girls on the radio. And I was like, dang, you were right. Like, he was like, man, ask that man for some money. Ask that man for this. Ask him for that. I was like, no. But you also have to understand, you can't be no daggone beggar, or like people feel like they own you, or like you owe them something, whatever. He's like, yeah, I get that. But also like, you know what I'm saying? He asking. I was like, cool. So, but the thing is, what I don't like is, it's like, if you want to do something for somebody, you could just do it, right? So I'd be like, I was like, all right, here's my Venmo, or here's my whatever. Well, how much do you want me to... Like, here we go. Like, right. Like, you could have just did something, right? So I'm like, oh, this person just wants to feel
You're just
like...
talking.
Right. They just want to feel like you asking them for something, whatever. And Kyle was like, well, shoot, if... He was like, if he ain't talking money, he ain't talking about nothing then. He's like, say some crazy amount. And I was like, you right. I was like, $5K. I was like, send me $5K. And I didn't say it just like that, but I basically was like, that's how much I want you to send me. And then he started being like, huh? And I'm like, yeah, because... Like, what did you expect me to ask for, like $20 or like something that I don't need? Like, I don't need anything from you. So why not say something crazy and just see like what would happen? So he sent me, and he was still being weird. He sent me instead a picture of some shoes and was like, you have the other ones like this, right? Get these. And I'm like, okay, like I'm not about to do that, but okay. And he's like, check your Cash App or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I had $250. Why at this point though? I started getting offended. I was like, hold up, that picture said them shoes was $950. And I was like, you right. So now I done went, it was funny because I was with Kyle, and it's like, I done went from being like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to ask for nothing, to being like, oh, nah, bro, this is it. But I did make a clean $250. And, but I was like, what am I supposed to do the Klarna? Because it was like, the Klarna was like $100 for like 4 or 5 payments or something. And he was just like, haha. And I was like, no, for real, like, boo. Like, I was like, you're mad whack for sending something to get and then not sending enough to get it, but also whatever. So anyway, then I went to brunch with my friends and used that $250. So yeah, moral of the story, like, also, you know, sometimes you can accept stuff. Have discernment, but, you know, also there's some people who like to give. I was also telling B Priest yesterday about a guy at the grocery store one time who was like, do you believe in blessings? And I was like, here we go. I was like, yeah, man. He's like, let me get your stuff today. And I looked at my arms. I was like, I have paper towels and some gum. Like, all right. You know what I mean? Like, okay, cool, thanks. Like, I was like, am I supposed to get on my knees at this point? Like, what do you want me to be doing? He's like, you need anything else? I'm like, nope, this was all I was coming for. Like, so I checked out. It's like he still was like waiting for me to say something or check out. And I was like, thank you, appreciate it. And I dipped off because it's like, I don't know what you was trying to get out of that, but also, sure, like, thanks. You know what I mean? But also, in both of those stories, these are folks who probably want to get off on helping somebody or thinking that they're doing something for you or have a savior complex. Who knows? But all that to say, I saved $4 that day, so soft life me up.
Do you believe in blessings?
Right. I was like, sir, I have 2 little things. Like, it'd be different if I was in line with like a family cart style of stuff, and then I'd have been like, oh, thank you. You're like, you sure? But I'm not about to stop and like, you're not getting nothing else out of that.
No.
Anyway, I digress.
No, but I mean, the mindset is important, and it's so funny because I am a very self-sufficient person, and it's hard for me to ask for help. But then I realized that in judging myself for asking for help, I'm probably judging other people too. So I've been like working on like being okay with when people ask, what do you need? Like actually saying stuff.
But I kind of disagree with that because I think soft light is beyond asking for help. Like, it's not even about needing stuff. It's like that's just extra stuff sometimes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If that's what it came across as, I'm not talking about like asking people for things that you need. That's not a soft life. But
yeah, like that's still in struggle town and like things that you might need to be just doing to do. But yeah, like it just getting something, the extras I think is more of what I would say for that.
Yeah, and so that like so my story was someone was like, hey, are you good? Do you need anything? Because one of my friends was like does sports gambling and hit and called me. He's like, say bro, you need anything? I was like, I'm actually good. And he was like, all right, cool. And then cash at me, something, just cuz. And I was like, I'm good. But thank you, bro. I appreciate that. But being open to receiving, before I'd have been like, nah, don't send me nothing. I'm good. And I was like, nah, I am good, but you can still send me something.
Right. You still turn up. Like, I'm not going to stop you.
I'm not mad at that at all. But I think it's being open to receiving, making sure you're working hard, taking care of yourself. But I think one of the first things that you're doing if you're trying to like live a softer life is kind of prioritizing yourself, like I was talking about earlier, and like setting a routine like for your highest self that includes adventure and rest and play and all of those things, and kind of sticking to that.
Yeah, whatever matters to you. Because I think that was a real holistic list of things that we always like kind of stick to, but like it could be whatever. If you need a pair of shoes, whatever. Your rent paid, whatever we talk about. Or yeah, like who knows what the situation can be, but I think you can, I don't know. I think one thing you could probably do is like assess your life as is and just think about like, what are a couple things that either maybe you can outsource or what could you maybe add to your life? Like, I think a lot of times too, we don't even consider what we may want to do because it's just not a thought. Like you may not have thought about going to the chiropractor once a month, but because you didn't realize you can go to the joint for $29. You know what I mean? So like think about maybe like what is some things that I've kind of been interested in or want to do or want to add to like my routine and see like how much something is, because you might be able to throw that in there once a quarter, once a month or whatever. And you just weren't thinking about it. So be aware and start to think about where those places might be in your life where you can get a little bit softer. And I apologize, I'm like lunch burping. I'm like trying not to burp in your face.
Oh, good. Another one is to move slower. And that was actually one of my friend's therapist tips. She challenged her to like actually not be in a rush and to move slower and to take her time to respond to people and to do different things, to not make everything else around you so urgent and really like prioritize yourself first.
What is this list up right now? I'm sorry. How to make it softer?
Yeah, well, like tips on creating a softer life.
Okay, because I don't even think I was referring to no tips just now. I don't remember what I just said anyway, but I just realized you were doing a list.
No, that was a tip. No, you did give one.
Okay, so another tip for living a softer life would be to protect your boundaries and not letting them get busted up. I think that a lot of hard lifers are people pleasers or people who complicate things or who are always thinking about like what somebody else might need, and they never think about their own massage they might need or what they want to do. And so to remember not only to put yourself first, but to not let other people always ask of you, or to allow yourself to put time in that you don't actually have or that you should put towards yourself for other people, and enforcing your own boundaries is important.
And the funny part about that is a lot of times they might not even be asking. You might just be offering.
Most of the time it could be that. Like you want to feel either needed or you want to be somebody's cures and solutions. So you're always thinking about stuff, for them. And then you're usually resentful, like you don't think they do the same for you. But also like nobody's asking for all that. And you can spend that on yourself. So try that.
Exactly. Anytime you have the urge to overdo something, just turn it and do something for yourself. Another one that her therapist told her that I thought was really like great was to make yourself like less accessible. And so, put your phone on do not disturb. Like she has out of office on her email, so she doesn't feel pressured to reply to people like when they hit her. Not like for her team, but for clients and stuff like that. Just doing things like not always answering on the first ring or feeling like you have to text someone back as soon as they text you. So like kind of taking that gap and giving yourself space to reply in your own time.
I agree with that. My only thing is like, don't make it a game, because then that still make it kind of centering another person the whole time. When you're like trying not to answer something or like whatever, do what you feel like doing. But I like especially that first part you said about like just like leave your phone in the back sometime, or especially with work and things like that. Like, cut it off. And most importantly, it's not necessarily that you may not respond to that person immediately. It's that you actually are busy doing something. You might actually be at happy hour with your friends, or you might have just, still be getting a massage or whatever. I feel like in correlation with what I was saying earlier, that has been what it's been lately. Is like, I literally don't be responding back fast to stuff because like, oh, I was just doing this or I was doing that. Like, so it's not even like you got to play that game. You just really
be present,
taking care of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And being present where you are with people. Is like when someone texts you or calls you and you're like out with your friends, it's like, enjoy that. Hit them back later. Like, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Another one is to make time to do nothing. And I like that a lot. I always leave like a portion of a day or something in my schedule every week, because it's like, how am I feeling? I want to go on an adventure. Oh, I need to do more work. Oh, I just want to rest, or I want to watch TV, or whatever the thing is. And that, allows my creativity to flow, because I'm not always forced, like feel like I'm forced into doing certain things.
I think that's very important. I think all of these tips are really good because, like you said, you kind of clear out your space, clear out some clutter of all the other people's stuff, and other people's emergencies or other organizations' work, whatever it might be that's in your life, kind of cutting that back a little bit and revving up on yourself a little bit as you can. Even whether it's like watching more TV for a minute because you need more rest, or whether it's that you need to go to Italy for 4 weeks or whatever, like, whatever that looks like for you. I think there's levels to a soft life, and that it's important to recognize, what you want, and like which of those things you could start to implement, or what you can ask for, what you can kind of put in there, and to move yourself forward in that direction.
Yeah, because you're worth it. You deserve it. Do it for you, not for nobody else, just for you. So hit us at Carly's Couch. Let us know what tips you're doing to live a softer life, or ways that you've already implemented that have been allowing you to live that easier, softer life. Would love to hear at Carly's Couch on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Hit us up. Let us know. And also give us some shout outs, because we don't have a shout out again this week. We're working on it. But we always end with the question of the week. And so I'm going to shoot it to you, Lex. What is something you think every person should experience in their lifetime?
One thing I think everyone should experience once in their lifetime is to spend at least a minimum of like a week with a family or with folks who are less fortunate than yourself. Everybody can't necessarily travel, but like if you can go to a different country like Eastern Europe, or some just small city somewhere, or even in the US, if you spend time in certain areas, I think it's really important to like really talk to people, get to know them, and to get a better understanding of what a day-to-day looks like in communities other than your own.
Oh, that's a great answer. Yeah, that. And then I have two, because y'all know me. The first one is to love and be loved. And that's a really Carly answer. But the second one is, I think that everyone should travel somewhere by themselves, because that was like, me traveling by myself have always been some of like the trips where I grow the most, and I just get to experience new things and new places and, different parts of myself. And I think it's just important.
What do you think is the difference with yourself versus like with small group or big group?
I think traveling by myself showed me, because that was my first international trip I ever went on. I was by myself, and it showed me like, oh man, I can do, look what all these things I can do by myself.
Oh yeah.
And then also you don't feel any pressure about like fitting to anybody else's schedule, doing anything else, because vacation is like, okay, we're gonna go have rest this day, we're gonna go do this day. And when you go by yourself, it's like, nah, I'm gonna get up and go get a chocolate croissant and a little cafecito, and then I'm gonna go to this museum, and then I'm gonna go to the beach, and it's like you literally do whatever you want to do.
That is nice. That's a really good answer too. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. So what is something you think everyone should experience in their lifetime? Hit us up at Carly's Couch. Let us know.
And like that, we will see you next week.
Bye, y'all.